Hi, everyone, and welcome to the session on building a strong security culture. I'm Jeremy Capel, the Chief Information Security Officer at Everbridge, and it is my pleasure to take you through this important area over the next 20 minutes or so. Hopefully, some of you have heard of us, but for those who haven't, Everbridge is the world's leading critical event management provider, and SnapComms is a multi-channel employee communication platform. So between Everbridge and SnapComms, we offer the only end-to-end critical event management and employee communication solution in the world. I started my career in cybersecurity in the post-apartheid era in South Africa, in Johannesburg, which really saw the emergence of novel security threats, both from a digital and a physical attack vector. And it became very evident that bringing these physical and digital communities together to be able to respond to attacks, whether those attacks are orchestrated simultaneously together or individually, is becoming extraordinarily important. And that's where our platforms, our people, and our knowledge is critical, is bringing that transformation of digital and physical into one realm in which you can control and manage critical events. As part of our day jobs, we regularly speak with security and InfoSec managers across the world, learning about their latest trends, their biggest challenges, and how they're coping with them. So in our session today, we'll be taking you through 4 cybersecurity must-dos from experts in the area and how you can implement these to build strong security culture in your workplace. But first, a bit of context about this all. 3 billion phishing emails are sent around the world every single day. If even one of those gets through, your organization is in big trouble. Even the most up-to-date technical protections available will not stop this from happening. Employees still fail these phishing attempts, and they only need one to get through in order to be successful, whereas your employees need to be right every single time. Building a culture of security strengthens your protection and reduces your risk. It is not about just telling the staff what to do. It is having them do it without thinking. It's making safe behavior become second nature. Now, if we take a look at some of these threats on the global landscape today, it's becoming evident that they're evolving at a rate in which a lot of organizations are not keeping up with. The attackers are shifting now to utilizing ML, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, and being able to go and scrape data from hundreds or thousands of individuals' social media accounts and automatically generate targeted emails that are very specific to individuals to lure them into clicking a link or providing some type of credential to gain access into the organization. So they really are becoming more sophisticated. And with this increase of sophistication, this topic needs to become more broadly understood through the organization and not be a once-a-year awareness that is distributed, but an ongoing campaign to ensure that we're educating and keeping staff aware and that it does become second nature to them. The first recommendation from our expert is to bring the issue to life. If we look at this quote, build awareness about a security topic that their employees might be facing in their personal lives or in the news. Security must become a constant feature on leadership agenda and in corporate communications, and it needs to be relevant to all of the individuals. So making it personalized, whether that is something specific to that individual, something going on in the news, helps bring readership. When it comes to the agenda in corporate leadership, relevance is also important. If we're trying to make employees aware, we need to drive relevance because relevance drives readability. And we need to keep that subject in the spotlight, and we need to make sure it is based on real world issues, not a theoretical event. Leaders play a big part in cultivating a risk-aware culture. The model that ideal behaviors are represented by leaders and then mimicked by individuals is critically important. When we see what leaders are doing, we will follow that in large cases. And so Leaders need to take that first step in really building that culture and driving it down within the organization. So how do we go about actually achieving this? Well, use past security breaches as learning experiences. Real-world examples bring issues, risks, and consequences to life. Describe the company, the type of people, and the aspects that they share with your company. Your employees must be in a position where they're thinking, that could have been me. I could have clicked that link. I could have opened up that breach. Teach staff how to protect themselves in their personal lives as well. For example, how to protect their home computers, keep their children safe online, check for viruses, use password managers, and make sure that all personal devices are up to date with firmware and hardware requirements. Communicate the good things that people have done as well. When people are aware that there are good things going on within the organization, safety measures taken, and there's positive messaging around it, they are more likely to continue those behaviors through positive reinforcement. Creating awareness campaigns builds cybersecurity into the very fabric of the company's culture. It educates staff on safe practices to follow. It helps them understand the real harm that breaches have caused to other companies and reinforces the importance of compliance. Awareness campaigns should typically include at least half a dozen messages delivered over a period of, say, 4 to 6 weeks. They're made up of what I would like to call 3 key components. The first one is launch messages, multiple nurture messages, and validation messages. So let's dig into those a little. Launch messages are there to create awareness at the beginning. This could be at the beginning of a new policy, when you're launching a new resource on the internet, or at the beginning of, say, an event like the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. While nurture messages are really there for continuous development, to deliver information in an ongoing basis to support positive behavioral change. And finally, validation messages are used at the end of a campaign to validate and acknowledge employees' understanding of whatever the awareness was and ensure that it has been retained by individuals. The second recommendation from our experts is to double down on social engineering. If we have a look at the quote above, it becomes extremely clear that the insider risk is huge. And this may be whether that is on purpose or not. Today's cybersecurity criminals are just more likely to rely on manipulation than brute force. It is fundamentally easier to manipulate someone into providing credentials or access than what it is to go and breach the technical environments of a perimeter or get into an environment through some type of hacking mechanism. Social engineering enables their access to a target by exploiting the trust of employees. Maintaining a vigilant security culture is a key part of addressing the insider risk. Employees must be educated on baiting and phishing. What do these mean? What are the warning signs that they should be looking out for? And how do we keep employees suspicious? I think if there is one item you can take away from an education session, it's to be suspicious. Be suspicious of phone calls, be suspicious of emails, texts or WhatsApps that you receive, and particularly suspicious if somebody has reached out to you first to help you out and you've not requested that help. So how do we go about achieving this? The first item would be to limit compromising information. What staff post on social media can provide a wealth of information to threat actors and be automated these days. Encourage your staff to consider what they post and how it could be used against the organization. Now, there are many ways to deal with this, turning things private as an example, making sure that you restrict your groups as to who gets access to those groups. So keeping public information in a mechanism that is more secure can still be achieved, but it's that education and building it into day-to-day practices. Employees receive on average around 120 emails a day. That's a lot of emails. There are a lot of opportunities for phishing emails to sneak through. Vigilance and common sense are key. Staff must be encouraged to think critically when viewing every single email. Coming back to that topic about being suspicious. We need to be suspicious of every single email. We need to educate staff on threats and actors, offering support to request help, sometimes posing as tech support. And this is quite important. If you're receiving a notification from your own IT department asking you to help you, for instance, do updates on your PC, be suspicious. If you haven't requested it, go and confirm with your management or confirm with your security teams. If staff don't request for that assistance themselves, you should consider it a scam straight away. Regular education and training sessions are critical in building a culture of security, but they're only effective if staff members actually do attend. Mandate attendance for all staff, providing dedicated sessions for those in different regions and different time zones. Impress upon the impact of a successful attack on the employees and the employee's responsibility as the first line of defense against a cyber attack. It doesn't matter how well you build out the perimeter and protect the enemy, protect yourself from enemy getting in. If you give them the front door keys with credentials and access and allow them to walk directly through, they're going to have that access. And that's why it is the easiest attack vector for a threat actor to go after an individual versus trying to penetrate through multiple layers of technologies built to defend against them. Onboarding awareness is extremely important. When individuals come through to your organization and onboard, we need to make sure that they fully understand their roles and their responsibility when it comes to security, particularly in the context of your organization and what they need to know when it comes to either responding, alerting, noting phishing attacks themselves. The next thing that I would always recommend is that annual training be more regular. We want to be able to do more regular training than just the minimum requirement of annual training. And lastly, I think it is very important to develop specific training for different teams. So think about developer training. If we've got developer teams producing code, we're going to have to tailor training to be more specific to their requirements, both in terms of general awareness to vulnerabilities, but also to what are the organization's policies and timelines for remediation vulnerabilities and threats. And another example would be targeting executives. Specific training to executives is critical. Executives are whaled, which is a type of phishing attack very specifically targeted to those executives in order to get them to release certain content and gain access to very confidential and critical information. So providing additional training focused on executives, keeping them aware is always going to be a good idea. The third recommendation is to stop spamming your staff. If we have a look at this quote, it is very clear that over-communication is a problem. And the mechanism to which we deliver messages needs to be tailored. Staff are bombarded with messages every day, and they're not reading all of them. In fact, only half of all employee communications actually get read. Relevance drives readership. Make your content relevant to those receiving it and let them receive it in a way that is best suited for that individual or that need. So how do we go about doing this? Target messages by information. An advisory around vulnerabilities in a particular system does not need to be sent to all staff who don't use that system. Segment your staff list by location, department, role type, even systems being used. Send cyber messaging only to those staff who need it and where it is relevant. Conduct training scenarios and simulations tailored to each department or role type, and provide real-world examples concerning people working in the same field as them. Send your messages in the format that best suits them for what you're trying to say. Different communication channels are better for achieving different goals. For example, pop-up alerts are way stronger at getting immediate direct attention to something important, while digital newsletters and emails are way better for delivering lengthy content that needs to be provided to an individual or a team. For maximum effectiveness, you need to optimize and target your messaging. Create an information security brand that gives all your messages a unique identity. Then use this on all your communications. Creating that brand is extremely strong. So when somebody sees that brand, they immediately know and can recall a number of past messages that have been sent. And it starts to create that subconscious awareness and allow people to become responsive and operate in a way that is secure without even thinking about it. Deliver all your content in a consistent style and include visual cues to help people process the information. Large emails with text or PowerPoint presentations with lines of text does not help individuals retain information. Get to the point, make it exciting, make it inclusive and actionable. The final recommendation is from my good friend and Chief Security Officer at Everbridge, Tracy Reynolds, which is to adopt a block and tackle strategy. As the biggest mistakes businesses make is not doing the basics. Blocking and tackling works best when technology and communication combine. Technology provides fundamental protection and the ability to scale proactively. Knowledge delivered through effective communication leads to safe employee behavior. A blocking and tackling approach provides the best protection for both. And this is something we see most regularly in organizations. Basics are not kept up. Keeping your organization in a mechanism where you've got the proper perimeter protection, the proper training and awareness with individuals, and keeping that consistently through the organization is fundamental to having a culture and an environment that is secure and has the ability to respond to disruptions. Here are some steps you can take for your block and tackle strategy. Firstly, you need to spend the time and conduct an honest assessment of your current systems and processes to identify your level of risk. Without knowing your starting point, it's very difficult to determine what the need is going forward. From there, create a mitigation plan incorporating both technology and staff engagement. Technology does not solve everything. And again, as I've said, if there's one message you take away from this is that the weakest link are the people. The easiest entry point are the people. They have to be brought into every mitigation strategy or plan that you're building to ensure that awareness is part of that process. Keep a log of all of your programs and tools used by each staff member in every department. Not only does this make updating faster and easier, it provides valuable compliance information at the time when audits arrive. Staff know what they want to get done, but don't always know the best, or let's say most secure way of getting something done. This is where the involvement of the security team and bringing staff into the processes early on is really important. If people feel part of the process, they're way more likely to adopt and incorporate them into day-to-day actions and activities. And they're also users. Getting their input into a security team can be extremely beneficial in terms of making security processes more efficient and better suited for the business itself. So the actions to take is to keep all of your systems updated in order to keep your data protected. It sounds obvious, but it's only by having the latest versions that you're protected from the latest threats. Also assess the effectiveness of training sessions through online quizzes. Test employees on what they've learned. This identifies knowledge gaps for future training that can be tailored more specifically to individuals. When we're looking at basics, we also need to consider all layers of security. And I like to talk about security in depth. Fundamentally, we need to be protecting our perimeter, whether that's in the cloud or on-prem. We need to have the basics of endpoint security on all of our devices. We need to be communicating in a securely encrypted manner across our networks and across individual working groups. We need to make sure that we're getting insight. So you need to be pulling content and logs from critical systems and activities and authentications to identify those bad behaviors and identify whether an attacker is trying to get into the environment. Fundamentally, you will never be able to protect against every single threat. And it is so important then to have the ability in your security operations center to get early detection and have a full capability to respond to threats. Response also includes having very tailored plans of action and working books that you can play in the event of a disruption. And those, again, also include communication, getting the right communication to the right individuals at a point in time where it's needed will make your response to a cyber attack way more efficient and effective. One final thing I want to share with you is an InfoSec communication calendar. This is your blueprint to the activities, events, and communications you need to plan throughout your year. Use it as part of your information security strategy to ensure staff are informed about the latest security threats. Here's an example of the first quarter from the calendar. You'll see it includes major security dates, events, and best practices. Use this as a template to build out a unique calendar for your organization and your needs. If you visit the SnapComms virtual booth, you can download the full quarterly calendar for 2022 and customize it as you will. Now, this may seem simple, but in reality, having these presented to the organization helps them understand that this is an ongoing activity. It also drives awareness. If you keep making a calendar visible to individuals and staff, they will be prepared for upcoming events. And one thing we want to repeat is keep a lot of those training and events mandatory. We want to make sure that individuals attend. It is no longer just good additional information. Being cyber aware is part of every single person's job and the responsibility of every staff member. Just to wrap things up, a quick word about SnapComms. We're a multi-channel platform for reaching and engaging staff across all devices and multiple channels. We've been used by organizations right across the world, and over 1 billion messages have been sent through our platform. And obviously, we'd love to work with you as well, if not already. You can try us out for free for 30 days by visiting our website. You'll get full access to all channels, from alerts and tickers to screensavers and surveys. Plus, there are a range of ready-to-use templates you can edit and send within seconds. And that's all, folks. If you have any questions or you'd like to keep the conversation going, please do visit the SnapComms website. You'll find more information on our platform and how to try SnapComms for free. If you would like to keep email communications or get more requests with myself and the team, happy for you to do the same thing through the SnapComms platform. You can set up communications, and we're happy to engage with you and your security teams. I think lastly, a big thank you for being present today and taking the time to be security aware yourself. Now go and take that message and pass it back to your staff. Thank you and have a great day.